All right, chem classes. It's Mr. Schmerchna. I think it's Sunday. You're going to be watching this tomorrow when I'm at track. So I don't know who my sub is. Might even be another teacher in school. But I just needed to go through a couple things, and then you guys just need to be really productive today. So get out your new packets. If we need to pause it, that's fine. But periodic tables you'll need every day. You'll also need calculators. If you don't have your own scientific calculator, you can use one of my blue ones up at the front. I have 16 of them. They all need to get returned. Otherwise, I won't let you use them, and you cannot do this math in your head. So you'll get your bonding test back later today. Otherwise, our next two units really are different, but then they'll end up coming together and mixing for our biggest unit in chemistry called stoichiometry. But what you guys are starting now is the moles chapter. So what the moles chapter is really is how we count particles in chemical reactions. It's a number that's very hard for us to understand early on just because particles and atoms and molecules and formula units are so small, but that's kind of why we created our own system that we'll talk about with moles. What we'll do then in a couple weeks is chemical reactions, where we really learn if you mix this with this, what happens, and then we'll put them both together in Unit 8, and that's called stoichiometry, which is where we can really start to calculate. If I go in the lab and I put 10 grams of silver with 14 grams of this, how much of this will I make? And that's really where we've been leading to all year. So as you can see on the front, I have a couple silly pictures, but when we start really applying this stuff, this is where chemistry really starts to get into the world. So what's in our food, the nutrition things, when we start to talk about drugs and things like that, that's where we really start to dive into real world chemistry. So in our moles chapter here, like I said, this is our quantities of chemistry. It's how we're going to count things. There's some really fundamental skills that you guys will need to get into, and that's what we need to get into today. So without me being here, this is on page 3 in your packets. But if you all go to page 3, this is where we really start out. So when we go to talk about one particle or one, Daddy's recording, so you need to be quiet for a minute. One particle or one atom or one molecule, we need to understand the weight of that thing. So what we call that is either its atomic weight if it's an atom, its formula weight if it's ionic, or its molecular weight if it's a molecule and covalent. So what that really is, everyone, is where we look at one singular atom. So on page 3, you're looking at a single molecule of sulfuric acid. How much would that weigh? So really, that's what we call it usually, is formula weight. Yes, okay, and Daddy's making a video, so you need to go over there and here. And what that is, it's where you take everything that's in an atom or in a formula and you add it all up, and you know what each atom weighs, so then you can figure out how much the whole molecule weighs. I had actually put one of these on one of your guys' tests earlier this year. But if you go look at sulfuric acid, we have to go look at the formula and do it right. That's why our language is so important. But we know that it's H2SO4, so we know that there's 2 H's, and we know how much an H atom weighs from our periodic table and its average atomic mass. We know how much one atom of sulfur weighs because there's just one of those, and then we know how much 4 oxygens weigh because that 4 only gets distributed to there. If we do that right with our distribution mathematically on our calculators, we can figure out that if we zoomed in like Miss Frizzle and looked at one single molecule of H2SO4, it weighs 98.1, and then our units are AMUs because we're talking about the mass units of what an atom is. So that can be its atomic weight if it's just an atom, like sodium, obviously weighs 22.999. And then, like I said earlier, if it's a molecule, that's the same exact thing. Formula weight and molecular weight are the same thing. It's just the title if it's a molecule or not. So glucose is the main sugar that drives all life on Earth. We should hopefully remember from biology that that's C6H12O6. So if you wanted to figure out how much one molecule of glucose weighs, you'd add up 6 carbons and 12 hydrogens and 6 oxygens. Looking at our periodic table, we know that carbon weighs about 12 AMUs, hydrogen weighs about 1, and each oxygen weighs about 16. So one molecule of glucose, one little molecule floating around in our blood, has a molecular weight of 180.0 AMUs. Hey, just color, please, nothing else. So, and what we'll end up doing as a class, it always drives you and me nuts when one kid says, I got 180.1, and one kid says, I got 180.2. So what our rule will be is that we will always round all of our masses from now on the rest of the year to 4 significant figures. So we won't write 180.19363. we'll round it to 4 significant figures, and we'll practice that as we go, okay? So if we need to pause the notes and stuff, that's fine, but again, formula weight and molecular weight are the same exact thing. They're just a different title based on what kind of molecule it is. Formula weight is if it's a formula unit, and that would be ionic with a metal and a nonmetal. A molecular weight would be what we call a covalent substance, and they're both going to have units of AMUs, because we're saying, well, how much does one particle of that weigh? Okay, so I know I'm probably talking fast, so whoever the sub is, feel free to slow down, but sample problem 1 right there has us really make sure we understand how to do this. So if we go look at one particle of sucrose is what table sugar is, it's C12H22O11. If we want to go look up how much one particle of that weighs, we'll start out and just look at what it is. So what we know is that there's going to be 12 carbons, there's going to be 22 hydrogen atoms, and there's going to be 11 oxygen atoms. This is not necessarily a work step I expect for you to show every time. It is something we just need to be familiar with as we go, okay? So if we go plug it in now, going to look on your periodic tables, and again, in a perfect world, I'd be here going slow through this, but if you guys all go look at carbon, when we round carbon to 4 significant figures, what we will all use as a class is 12.01. Hey, stop touching stuff. Color your picture. Hydrogen is 1.008, and then oxygen, it says, hey, shh, no, hey. Sorry, I have a helper. Hey, shh. Now oxygen is 15.999, but if we take that, that means the first 4 numbers are important, and that last 9 will make that other 9 round up. So for oxygen, we'll use 16.00. If you all go type that in on your calculators, and you really should pause it and go get it, what you'll get on your calculator then is 342.296. And again, that's not what I want you to write, but you'll need to get in the habit of doing that. If we only look at the first 4 numbers, that means we end at 0.2, but that 9 will then make that round up. So what we'll say as a class is the weight of one sucrose particle would be 342.3 AMUs. Okay, and what that would be is molecular weight, because it's a nonmetal and a nonmetal and a nonmetal sharing. Okay, that's just a title thing. If we did the same thing for calcium chloride, you guys know that we need to go crisscross because we have a metal and a nonmetal. So first you need to get the formula, otherwise you won't be able to do anything right. Then what we know is that is made up of 1 calcium atom and 2 chlorine atoms. And if we go type in what those are, calcium rounded to 4 significant figures is 40.08 AMUs. And then 2 chlorine atoms, so you got to take that 2 only goes with the chlorine, not with the calcium. Each one of those weighs 35.45 AMUs. And if you do all that math, you get 110.98. But we only want 4 sig figs, so that 9 is what we want, but that 8 is going to make it round up, so the right way to write this would be 111.0 AMUs. That is how much one formula unit of calcium chloride would weigh. And we obviously don't have those kind of scales in our class, but it's a number that we need to be really familiar with. This would be formula weight, not molecular weight, because it's ionic. So if you guys go on bell ringer 1, that's what you'll be doing, is just deciding, well, how much does one particle weigh? Get in the habit of crisscrossing again, make sure we're doing those steps right, and go through it all the way that we're supposed to be going through it, okay? With that being said, I'm not going to do sample problem number 2 with you. I will just say they're MMQs, which are most missed questions of what kids really miss a lot. Oxygen is not 16 AMUs. You should all remember and maybe turn and tell someone right now. That's because it's elemental oxygen, and we should know from our bonding chapter that it would never just be O. That's all I'll leave you with. And then again, other missed questions are going to be things where we're really going to struggle with formulas if we're not doing that right. So get your polyatomic ion sheets out and make sure we do it the right way. If you mess up calcium hydroxide, or if you get an answer that doesn't match up with my key, I bet you money your formulas are wrong, which obviously is going to make your formula weights wrong. Make sure when you go do calcium hydroxide, for instance, the parentheses, that 2 on the outside of them has to get distributed all the way through. So that's going to be on page 11 in your packet. I think what I'll end up having the sub do is pause it right now, and you guys will go work on page 11 on the problems I wrote on the board. Do a couple of them, make sure you're getting the hang of it, and then come back and watch the next part of this video. Okay, so I'm almost done. When you guys go to do this on page 11, it's going to say molar mass. When you go to do that, then molar mass it's almost the same thing. We don't know what it means yet, but all you need to know for right now is it's the same exact number. The units are just going to be grams per mole. And I'll be back tomorrow, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about what a mole is and what that looks like. But when you see those other units on my sheet, that's what that means, and it'll be on assignment 1 too. So for now, focus on the formulas and doing the math right, and go from there. But now we can officially pause. So pause, go work on page 11 and the ones I circled. Okay, now moving forward here, the other thing that we need to go over then, this is on page 4 in your packets. The other really important skill is percent composition. This is where we really start to get in the world. And really, I mean, if a cop finds a bag of white powder, there's not some magic machine that says this is cocaine. That machine will analyze how much carbon is there, how much hydrogen is there, and in that situation, it will then be able to determine what the substance is. So hopefully from every single mask, and same thing with arson. If they really want to figure out if somebody started a fire, they can analyze the ash and figure out was gasoline poured on that or not. So just remember, from all your classes the whole year, the way you find out your grades and everything, when we do the percent of anything, it is the part divided by the whole. To express it as a percentage, we do it times 100. So what percent composition is when we're looking at the mass contributed in the substance. So if I go back to sucrose, for instance, how much of it is carbon? How much of that pile of sucrose I have is from carbon? And that's how we can go look at different substances and everything according to the law of definite proportions. We know that every substance is going to have different amounts of different elements. So that's really what this will be. The general formula we'll do is that we'll go look at, well, how many atoms are there? How much does each atom weigh? And that is the part of it, that's that element, divided by the whole thing. So let's go look at a practice problem here. Part divided by the whole, that's what we got to remember. So if you go to sample problem 3, I think we're on page 4 here. And again, feel free to pause it, sub as we need to, but if you want to go figure out the amount of carbon, the percent carbon of what we did earlier, which was sucrose, you're going to go do the part of carbon, that in one particle. So what we want to do then is go just say, well, in one particle, we already know how to do that. We found the molecular weight on the page before. We know one whole particle weighs 342.3. Well, there's 12 carbons in one particle, so that would be the part of the whole thing. Now we'll set that up so we know there's 12 carbons. We know each carbon weighs 12.01. We know the whole thing's 342.2. When you go to do that, you're going to get 0.42 da 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 da. And remember, that's not a percentage. That's the proportion of the whole. So we got to take it times 100, which is going to move that decimal over 2 places. And then what we always say as a general rule is in my class, we should always do our percent compositions rounded to the 10th place. That usually will help you then get a final total of 100%, which is what we want. So again, feel free to pause, but when you go through and you look at how much carbon is there in sucrose, it doesn't matter if it's one particle or a whole dump truck, 42.1% of all of that sucrose particle is just from the carbon, and it will always be in that ratio because of the law of the law of definite proportions. So that's how you do the part that's carbon. How would you do the part of it that's hydrogen? You do the same exact thing, but what's going to be different is that there's 22 hydrogens in one particle, and we know hydrogen weighs different. So feel free to pause it, but we'll go set that up. The part hydrogen over the whole thing, we already know how much that whole thing weighs. And then again, I've had a lot of kids struggle on this step. That 0.06 whatever is the proportion, so then you got to take it times 100, and then we're always going to round it to the 10th place. So 6.5% of it would be hydrogen. Feel free to go do the oxygen with each other. Smirch, are we allowed to just subtract it from 100? Yes, theoretically speaking, but if you messed up the first two, you'd also mess up the last one. So what I would advise is do all of them and then add it up, and it should be 100.0% because those are the only 3 elements in that substance. Okay, looking at another example right below it, this is not, when it says calculate the percent composition, that's when you're usually going to do all the elements in there and their percentages. This one, on the other hand, is saying, hey, just go figure out how much nitrogen is there when we have calcium nitrate. So I'm using the ones from the page before so we don't have to reinvent the wheel, but when we go to do calcium nitrate, everyone, we got to be very careful here. This is a very common misconception with kids. We know that one particle of calcium nitrate weighs 164.1. And we got to be careful here because a lot of kids will say that there's just one nitrogen right there, but that two nitrates would have 2 nitrogens. So you got to say there's 2 nitrogens in that whole thing. If you go plug in 2, nitrogen is 14.007, but it's rounded to 4 sig figs like we talk about. And if you go to do that, I'm almost done. If you go to do that, then you got to make sure you round it appropriately. Now, hey, you got to be quiet. And then you should get 17.1% nitrogen here. Can you go get me 2 markers off the desk? And that's how you, no matter how much of it there is, calcium nitrate is always going to be 17.1% nitrogen. And that's why firefighters and police officers and stuff, go color up. Can you write your name on the board? That's why they can figure out what a mystery bag of white powder in someone's car is. My God, my kid definitely has ADD. So that would be sample problem 4, and that's what. And there's also going to be some of those on the back of your bell ringer 1. So you can start working on assignment 1 at the bottom when it says percent composition. It doesn't just say find the percent of one element. Percent composition means find all of the percent of element 1, the percent of element 2, and again. I don't think any of you are math savants yet, so what I say is I don't need huge amounts of work, but I need to see enough work where if you're getting stuff wrong, I can at least help you, okay? So when you guys go to do that, that's probably where I'll work to. I'll do one more with you, and this is the hardest style for you guys. If we do sample problem 5, hey, I'm almost done. Using what we did from the page before, I didn't even set up the work for this, but if we had 45 grams of calcium nitrate and we wanted to know how much oxygen is there, this is the entire opposite process. So now we have the whole thing, and we want to find what part of it is oxygen. So in order to do this, what we'd have to do as a class is go figure out the percent oxygen. So going back a page, you'd have to be careful here because there are 6 oxygen atoms. So you would take 6 oxygen atoms divided by the whole thing and get the percent oxygen, which is going to be a lot more since there's a lot of oxygens. And let's just say, I don't know what it is, but let's just say it's 58.5% oxygen. What you'll then do is say, well, of this 45 gram sample, 58.5% of it is oxygen. And what I usually teach kids is take the proportion. So if you took 0.585, and I know that that number's wrong. I'm almost done. Yeah, you can just stand there. You would take whatever the proportion is, the percentage as a decimal, and take it times that, and that would give you the part of the whole. So that's going to be enough to get you guys started working on bell ringer 1 and 2. I'm going to hopefully make another video, but I'm almost done. That'll get you working and be some practice problems. All right, so good luck. You guys can do it. Help each other out. But again, show your work, check my answer keys, and if you're getting stuff wrong, it's probably your formulas. Make sure we're working on those pages in our packets then.